All right, great. Greetings. I am Mark, your host here at Baker's Green Acres, and tonight is our customarily fun and exciting anyone can farm live chat, where we go into questions and answers. So what is that? Jill's computer is there and it's on, so it's probably going to haunt me a little bit. She walked away. Let me see if I can. Yeah. See. All right, she'll be back. Okay, well, this is where the broadcast began. And let me see what I can do about turning this off. How about that? First button I touched, turned that thing off. And I didn't really know which button it was. See, in my world, it would say volume and then on or off, or plus and minus. But no, there's just a little arrow there, and you're supposed to know that that's the volume. But anyway, I got it first time. Tonight's our Q&A, and this is really where this broadcast began. Long time ago, in order to alleviate some of the questions that I was getting on a daily basis through the website and other places, we decided, hey, let's dedicate a little bit of time on a Wednesday night and just answer questions then. That way, they go out to more people than just, the small group of people that, a one-on-one basically. So that's where it all began. And, it started out where we would be going a half an hour and nobody would even, we'd be out of people calling, and now it's gone to like an hour and a half and sometimes even 2 hours that we go with Q&A, and it can be a fun, lively show. I do have Jill helping me. She's not here right now. She went to get her cup of tea, probably get me a cup of tea as well. And so I'm supposed to do some announcements. The big one is homestead hog harvest classes. There is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 that we're going to run this year. 2 of them will be here at Baker's Green Acres. One will be on Beaver Island at Flattail Firs. We've never done one there. And one will be in the great state of Maine, which is wicked good. And the one in Maine is going to be in December. We've moved that date, and there was some reasons we had to do that, but we've moved it to December 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's going to be at Joe Brown's farm. It's called the Long Shot Revival Homestead. And in order to sign up, you'll have to get with with Joe Brown on that. And you can find that at the Homestead Hog Harvest classes that's on our website, bakersgreenacres.com. Okay, and will there be contact information there for
Joe's class?
Flattail as well?
Oh, yes. Yes, there is.
All right, there'll be contact info there for Flattail Firs Farm. Now, a little bit about the class. It's a class that's designed for the homesteader. You will experience live hogs. We shoot them, stick them, collect the blood, scald, scrape. 12 people in the class besides me and Jill and maybe a helper. And so there's lots of hands-on, whole lot of hands-on. We're going to do 2 pigs per 12 people. Okay, so it'll be 4 teams of 3 if my math is correct. And so everybody will really get a lot of hands-on, because we do 2 pigs, there'll be 4 halves. And, so the class begins on a Friday. After lunch, we set times for them, about 1:30. we go until the hogs are killed, scalded, scraped, split, organs prepped, and you know, put in a place where they can cool off. We're going to be doing this in December and November, so we're working with the seasons, which reminds me of something that I wanted to talk about too. And then the next day we do breakdown on the carcass, and we break it down into primals, and then some of the primals we're going to break down into subprimals. So you will know where everything comes from by the time you've taken this class. We have a really nice booklet that Jill makes that we hand out for the class. And then in the afternoon on Saturday, we start getting into some grinding, salting, smoking, packing. The next day, Sunday, we get into it much more heavily. So there's a lot of the chemistry involved to, you know, to do the curing and things like that. It's really pretty in depth. The thing about a pig is you can go to a lot of these classes. They will all be different, and there's all new information. There is so many facets to the handling of pigs. Over the years, people have come up with a lot of really neat things. And we know about this much, but we know that much of it pretty good. And once you know that, when you can get the animal on the ground and safely scalded, scraped, eviscerated, and then split in half, from there you can start making mistakes, and you're still going to have a piece of meat that you can eat. All right, so it's not going to be a perfect job, but it's not perfect coming from a very experienced butcher either. You don't know the mistakes that they make that you just don't know about. But this is designed so that if you participate in the class, the very next weekend you should be at your homestead doing your own pig, and you might be a little, you know, I mean, it's going to be rough around the edges for sure, but the next time you do it, you'll be better, and then better, and then better, to the point where you won't use processors anymore. You will just do it on your own. And that's a good place to be, especially nowadays. We talk a lot about prepping on this channel. It's near and dear to my heart because I was a Boy Scout and then I was career military, so being prepared is a good thing, and I think it's something people need to look at. I don't think we have to do a lot of hard selling on being prepared after what we've just been through with the dreaded COVID-19. Okay, so this is a good tool to have in your toolbox. So have I done it? Have I got all the dates? No, I didn't give you the date for Beaver Island. Beaver Island. I was questioning this last night. Is this it? Yeah, it's
13th, 14th, 15th.
13th, 14th, and 15th of November. Okay. Yeah, and the one here that's already full is the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Okay. All right. The one in New Hampshire, we haven't heard back on that, and I kind of doubt it. All right, I kind of doubt it. So let's just get on with life here. Please visit bakersgreenacres.com. There's a lot of good information over there, good videos, stuff like that. Search that a little bit. There's quite a few videos that go way back, way back. For now, we have voluntarily demonetized this broadcast, and we did that because YouTube was loading it up with commercials that people couldn't even click off, and they were loading it up, so many of them, that the view count, you know, you can look at the back side of this operation, the view count was way down. I mean, who wants to watch a bunch of commercials? So it was way down, and then the last two shows, it was 20 times as much. So evidently the material is good and people want it, but they're not willing to sit through the commercials. And some of the commercials that I've seen, they really have nothing to do with what we're talking about. I think the people that handle this, they say, oh, well, it's homesteading, so we'll put like farming commercials in. But most of what I've seen are livestock managers, do you want to increase your profits? And that's not really what we're about in the homesteading world. So I guess we'll keep it there for now, but that means, the super chats, they take up the slack. And where YouTube is not going to be promoting the videos because we're not giving them the authorization to advertise, we need you to do that, to promote the videos. We need you to do that. All right. So this is kind of what we do. We kind of take it and say, we'll do it ourselves. We can do a better job of it. And I think we can. We've got a pretty good sized cadre here. And I got to tell you, I had a conversation with a woman on the phone today. Started out, was calling her back. She wanted to buy some pigs. Wound up in a quite a lengthy conversation. And I told her about the group. And then she told me what she was doing. And she was kind of doing it on her own, it sounded like. And I said, oh, man, we need you in this group. And I was able to talk about this group with glowing praise, really. It's not, we'll try it. But I believe there is, I believe that I know there's a lot more activity going on than people are putting up. I'm sure of that. And I probably want to remind you, the tribe is important. It is important for you to share what you're doing on the tribe. And here's why. Some of the things that we talk about on, our nightly show, they might be going over some people's heads that are just coming in. And so when you post kind of rudimentary things that you've done, that may speak to somebody. You have no idea of the influence that you might have on somebody, because someone will see, a process that you've done, and they say, I want to do that and I can do that, right? And those are two very important things. And you remember when you started this, it started with one thing, and then it led to another, and another. And now you can hardly satiate your farming urges, right? So you got to keep coming back now. All right. Well, that's the idea. Okay. Is that it for? And we also need the thumbs up. See, Lone Star, he's just reminded me, we need the thumbs up. It's not hard to do. Can everybody just hit the thumbs up? Okay, tonight is our Q&A. So if you have questions that you'd like to run past our esteemed panel here, just send them to us in all caps, and then we'll know. I understand that there's a lot of conversation that goes on, people talking and stuff. That's a great thing. This is about networking and talking about things that have to do with farms, homesteading, farming, and just plain living. We do kind of stray off once in a while, depending on who's here and what they want to talk about. Real quick, last night we talked about simplifying your homestead. We want to simplify it so that we can minimize the complexity of the unknown things that are going to come into our lives. So simplification is a good thing. And I had several things written down, and there was one of them that I couldn't get to all of them, and I overlooked this one. And when I was done and I was transcribing some of these things into my notebook, I said, oh, this one we need to talk about more. So it is seasonality. Okay. It might seem a little rudimentary thinking, but until just this farm right here, the power pole, when we got here, had a tag on it that was, they used to put those tags on it and would tell it when it was installed. And every time they updated it, they would put new tags on it. This one was 1943. So this farm didn't get electricity, commercial electricity, till 1943. So everything that they did here, they had to either use the generator that was in the basement, but that was just for the house. They did not use that for milking or anything like that. Everything was done by hand. The milk was cooled in cans that were submerged in cold water that they pumped up into a tank. And when that was being done, things were a lot simpler. I mean, you had probably less free time because you spent more time on the end of a well pump, but things were simpler back then. They were for sure. So when we think about how they dealt with their lack of technology then, they had to be cognizant of the seasons much more than we have to. Like, we don't have to cut ice out of the pond and put it in an ice house, and it's got to last us until, you know, the next winter. We don't have to do that because we have refrigerators, and refrigerators work good, and they're easy, they're cheap, they work, right? So we don't have to worry too much about that. But if we start to simplify, we're going to want to become seasonally minded. Okay, like, I'm not going to raise chickens all year long. I'm going to raise them during the season when I have what I need to do that, right? It's not going to work in the wintertime, because in the wintertime it's too cold. I'd have to heat buildings and stuff like that. So I don't want to do that in the winter. But by the same token, in the summertime, I don't want to butcher pigs because there's too many flies, and flies can ruin a carcass. So I want to wait until fall time when it's cooled off and the flies are gone or quite dormant, right? Same thing with cattle and other things like that. So seasonality is something that we probably want to dive into at another time. I skipped over it, but it really is something that you want to look into, and you incorporate it into your planning. Obviously, you're not going to be planting the garden in December, right? So you don't have to worry about planting the garden in December. But that is seasonality, right? There are other things that you need to fill in your schedule for December, because you want to keep your schedule, you know, just nicely full. You know, if you're working 1, 2, 3 deep in your, you want to have enough work for everybody to maintain a steady work schedule. Maybe a little lighter in the wintertime so you can read books and things. But let's pick that up again tomorrow. I want to maybe start the show off with that because there's a lot to discuss on seasonality. You know, the way it affects our health, the way it affects our sleep patterns, and how we should, you know, well, my thoughts anyway, how I incorporate how I schedule my work into the season changes. So without further ado, I am ready to take any questions. And if there are none, we'll just sign off for tonight at 19 minutes and 25 seconds.
Oh, excellent. Sounds good to me. All right. Dion
Warwick.
Yeah, Dion Stumpo, who I kind of think, if I remember right, I can't get into my thing, is coming to Hog Harvest.
Oh, good.
Wanted to know, when you plant radishes and turnips for pigs, do you plant in rows or use a broadcast seeder?
Broadcast seeder. That's how I do it. I think doing rows would be tedious and it'd waste a lot of time. That's what I think. And, you know, another thing that you're going to get with broadcast seeding, you're going to get an uneven rate of growth, because some of them are going to get planted shallower. Some are going to be planted deeper, and that's going to affect the rate of growth. You know, it affects the germination time, and you you don't, this isn't like we're growing radishes for farmer's market, so we need them all to come in. Well, if you're doing farmer's market, actually, you don't want them all to come in at the same time. You want them to be, you want to do a progressive planting system to where you're going to have new ones every week. In this case, we kind of want that as well. Some of them are going to be much bigger than others. You know, with turnips, the pigs have a tendency to go after the big ones. Oh, I got a low battery. They have a tendency to go after the big ones first, but they won't go after them until you've had a good hard frost. And what that does, it drives the sugar down into the roots. So it makes them sweet. And I wonder about that because all summer long they turn their nose up at them, and then all of a sudden they're going wild on them. So they sweeten up pretty fast. We've had it to where I had a field that had really good growth on it. Big purple top turnips that were like this. And when I turned the pigs in, it had already frozen. The tops were frozen, and they went after the bulbs first. And it was one of those times we had a hard freeze, several days, or a lot of days, and it turned the ground solid as a rock. They get them anyway. You know, I'm not sure if this one works still. I didn't see any indication that it's charging, but it's hard to know.
Sure, it's an iPhone 1.
Yeah, I know, but one of them doesn't work. The one with the long cord does.
Do you know where it is? Because
Yeah.
it wasn't there.
Should be.
Okay, I'll go look again.
Yeah.
I'll go look. I gotta get a couple of these done before.
All right. Taking another question.
Okay.
You may want to have questions for Jill too. I'm trying to get her to sit behind the microphone, you know, one of these nights and just so you can hear her thoughts. She's a really good commentator. She's had some pretty good videos lately that have been getting a lot of views.
Crazy things about eating weeds.
Yeah, about eating weeds.
Mary wanted to know, why are my string beans that she saved from last year not producing beans? She's got huge plants, no beans. Could they be hybrids? And Bryce is on. He might have some insight.
I wonder if Bryce, if you know. I don't know, but I would, you know, that sounds like a suicide gene. A lot of the seed companies do not want you saving seeds because if you save seeds, you could buy a package of seeds when you're a young person and then have those same seeds on your farm. You know, you're planting year after year after year when you're an old person, and that deprives them of sales. So they have come out with seeds that have in them what they call a suicide gene, and it's a termination gene. It terminates that line. No blossoms either.
Yeah.
What variety of beans? So Bryce is on it. Sounds like you've tapped into a good source of information on that. Is that Mary Hazelton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, I'd be interested to hear what Bryce says. That can be a nutritional deficiency in your soil too, where it grows plants, but they don't have what they need to set.
Did they work last year, Mary?
Well, yeah, because she's able to
Because she's
seed.
got the seeds. Yeah, it almost sounds like a termination gene. You've been terminated. So you're going to have to get some different seeds. I think. I don't know. I definitely want to try it again, maybe. Test plot, something. I don't even know who you'd send it to check it out, but I know this, once you you get a strain of seeds, especially now. Especially now. I mean, in the state that I live in, the governor wanted to keep us safe from COVID-19, so she shut down, or she had the stores that had seeds and plants shut that all down so you couldn't buy it. And I can see where she's coming from. She wanted to keep us in the house where it's safe. The problem with that is people didn't get their gardens in, and that's not good. I'm being facetious. Our governor is not a good person. But you need to know that there are people out there that are bad people, and she would probably like to see a bunch of us starve. So when you have good seeds, save them. And I would recommend everybody save seeds this year. Everybody save seeds. And then you can trade them. And your seeds ecosystem, and they're going to change slightly. And the next time you plant them, this is the way life works, it gets better and better and better, right? So another reason why you want to save seeds, because you want your species, whatever it is, to increase. And it will. It will. Old timers have saved seeds since they were, it's passed on to them from their parents. Very important to save seeds, but they've become so cheap at the store that people just kind of don't. And the seeds that we get from the store are not the cream of the crop by any means. The cream of the crop goes to, the big growers. They get first dibs on that stuff. So if you save your seeds and save the really good seeds, pick through them. Take the nice plump juicy ones and save those. Then you've got the good stuff.
All right.
It's my 2 cents on it. I've gone to some seed saving workshops. There's a guy here that really gets into it deep, and he even organized a seed exchange that last I knew was still going really strong, and you could get some really good stuff.
Yeah. Bryce said, guessing the original seeds were a hybrid, like maybe jade, which are not open pollinated.
Okay.
So it may not be a terminator gene per se, but they don't reproduce.
Okay.
Well.
Did you get that, Mary?
All right, Joe Brown. The rabbits he processed last week make him want to raise them. Colony versus cages is his question.
I've never done the colony thing, but I don't see why you couldn't do both at the same time. There's no reason why you couldn't do both. Colony is where you just have like a sounder, and you have an area where they run in and they do their thing, and they're pretty good about reproducing. And you just have, open feed, and when it's time for processing, you go in and collect the ones that are big. Cages is a different story. You have battery cages is what they call them. So you'll have 3 cages, and you'll have a doe in each one, and on the fourth one you'll have a buck. And then when you need to breed them, you take the buck. I get this wrong a lot. Do you take the buck to the does or the does to the buck?
Buck to the does.
Buck to the does? Okay. And they can be bred just about any time. So we happen to have a rabbit that doesn't want to be bred right now. And we haven't figured out what her problem is. She's just, I don't know.
Dinner.
Yeah, she needs to be eaten. And we need some more, because I want to do rabbits too. Did them for a long time. Doe to the buck. Sounds like that.
Maybe that's our problem.
Doe to the buck. Well, why don't we try that then? We'll try it. We'll let you know, all right? Because we've kind of given up on her, and so we have 2 bucks that are just kind of hanging out eating. But rabbits, you can't go wrong. I mean, for the prep stead or anything else. Did you sell 2 rabbits to somebody yesterday? from that girl that we processed rabbits to? No, because Gordon wanted 2 rabbits. And I told her, hey, there was a guy just here that got milk that was looking for rabbits. Okay, well, people like rabbit, and rabbit is a magical little animal that you can, in the summertime, anything that you see that is green, you can feed it to that rabbit and it will turn it into protein. It's just an incredible little creature. And they're quiet. They generate a lot of nice manure for your garden. And what a great source of protein they are. It's not like chickens where people are going to know you have them because they cluck and make noise and stuff. But if you're in town, someplace like some communist township where they say no rabbits, well, they're not going to know you have them unless you're dumb and go and ask them, can I have rabbits? Just do it.
Alright.
I saw Lone
Yeah.
Star had a good question. Is that the one you're going to ask me?
No, I got a couple in line
Okay.
ahead.
Get in line, Lone Star.
Brittany, how are young pigs sold? I can't get mine sold and need to go. I can't get mine sold and need to. She's got 15 extras that she doesn't want to take into
Mangalitsa?
winter.
Mangalitas?
I think sour crosses of some sort.
Yeah. You can't do livestock on Craigslist, can you?
Yeah, you could sell on Craigslist. And
Okay.
You can sell on Facebook if you. There were a couple ideas. I just saw a post about this. As long as you don't say sale or sell, you just talk about it and you are rehoming for a fee or something like that. There's wording around it. Or someone suggested make a meme and then just write pigs on it or something like that.
Okay, on Facebook.
Because they can't
They can't pick it up with their
pick it up in a meme.
algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Or artificial intelligence.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
This time of year it slows down. People are afraid of taking them through the winter. So.
Yeah. For selling pigs, this is not the good time. For buying pigs, this is the best time.
She's
'Cause
getting
you-
ghosted a lot off Craigslist.
Ghosted?
Yeah, where people contact her and she gets back with them and then she never
Oh,
hears
yeah.
from them again.
Oh yeah. That's a bad thing these days. It really is a bad thing.
And she's dropped the price so much.
What are you selling them for? You should be able to get $100 for them. Mangalitas. Are they coming to the class? Because we could take them off their
I
hands.
haven't gotten the deposit.
Oh, they just got a new baby. That's why. Yeah.
But maybe try 75 for feeder, 100 for females.
100 for females. That's
For
pretty
breeding
cheap.
stock. Yeah, that's
Breeding stock. We go 500 for breeding stock. A breedable animal goes out for 500. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah.
Did you see Lone Star's question there?
Do we have live pigs? Yeah, we got live pigs. I got breeding stock right now. I got some nice ones. I have about 3 pairs that are really dynamite. And I really have all the breeding animals that I need, but I separated these guys out because I thought that they were nice. And, you know, you get set up with a breeding pair for $1,000, which might seem like a lot, but I can't keep feeder pigs here. I mean, we sell them fast, and we sell them for $100 or $150 sometimes. And you know, when food gets tight, that's what people like. And if you have one sow, she'll give you between 16 and 20 per year. So you pay back your initial investment really quickly.
And she said she started at 150.
Yeah.
So. But maybe some of the Mangalitsa or pastured pig Facebook pages, they might be open to posts and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a red Mangalitsa pair for sale?
I do not. I do not. I just got my first red boar about a month ago, so I'm new to the red breed. Yeah, that's the hottest thing. It's kind of a, I don't know, depending on where you live. I think Brittany lives in the boonies, doesn't she?
Yeah, not too far.
Okay. How many does she have? 15? Man, you ought to just feed them out. Castrate them and feed them out. You know, any of the Mangalitsas, whether they're reds, swallow bellies, or blondes, when you take the clothes off, they all look the same. Okay, so there is no difference in the quality of the carcasses between reds, swallows, and blondes. So it's kind of fun to have, you know, something that you like the looks of. And if you're going to be selling breedable animals, you know, we have Mangalitsa pigs that are definitely Mangalitsas. There's no way they can not be Mangalitsas if you look at them. But then they'll throw some oddball. And it happens, you know, relatively consistent. And the Mangalitsa breed is a cross, actually. And there's wild boar in there. That's why they have the hair and all that stuff. So every now and then you get one out of there that looks pretty crazy, you know, it looks pretty wild. And last time I had to make some decisions on some sows, I kept one that had that wild boar look to it, because it seems like that is a very good breedable animal. We've had good luck with them. There's no way to know, you know, until you actually have a good sow. You can look at them and say, oh, that looks like a good sow, but it's hard to know. You know, it's like you could look at some really beautiful, sleek looking woman, you know, beautiful, but she might not be a very good mother. She might not want to breed. So what good is she? Yeah, there you go.
All right, Cody is getting that sow and boar that are 3 years old. The guy always takes the boar out 1 week before farrowing. Should I keep it that way or go natural?
If I have to give an answer, I want to answer on the side of safety, right? I don't do it. I don't take the boar out, and boars are not a problem to young pigs. But if I tell you, nah, don't do it, and you just get some rogue boar that, like, what is this? Because he's never seen him before, and he starts chowing down on him, you're going to be a little upset with me. I think that's going to have to be a decision that you make, but I'll tell you what I do. No, I leave the boar in with the babies. It's fun because the boar generally, once there's no breeding to be done, he's just lazy. He just wants to watch TV is all he wants to do. And the little pigs run all over him. You know, they run up on top of him and everything, and it's kind of fun.
All right. Oh, Bryce wanted to know if you have biochar for sale.
Negative.
We need to make some.
I know. I need to make some. I need to get the cooker going and make some, because I'm almost completely out. I'm down to my last bag, and we're almost done with chickens. But I do not have any. I will let you know when I make some, though, bro.
Hey, we need to get some serious thumbs up. We got 29 and only watching and only 13 thumbs.
Yeah, what's the matter with you people? Give us the thumbs up, or I'm shutting it off right now. I'm shutting it off right now. Don't make me do it. I'm shutting it off.
All right, yeah, Kathleen commented that her boar used to kind of pester the mothers because he's smelling what's going on with her, but never bothered the babies.
Yeah.
And she won't stand for him.
Yeah, no.
So he's just smelling.
Yeah, what we're touching on here is, your personal style of raising pigs. I think that if you're in production, let's say, and you've got to have this many pigs on this date and this many pigs on this date, you're going to want to control your breeding a lot more closely than if you're in the homesteading model. And a month this way or a month that way, it doesn't really matter that much. Other than somebody will say, when are you going to have pigs? And you tell them, and you miss it by a month, which happens. But the way we do it is we set up sort of like sounders, so sort of like family units. And if you have 3 or 4 or 5 good sows and 1 boar, they all kind of mother each other's kids, and it's fun to watch them all flop over at the same time and start grunting, and then it's feeding time, and there's just little pigs looking for an open spot. They don't care if it's their mom or somebody else's mom. They're just looking for an open spot. And we've raised a lot of really nice healthy pigs that way. Not over, we don't over mother them. We don't watch them too closely. What you do have to be careful of is if you have litters that are separated by, say, 6 weeks, and so you have babies that are really mobile, and then they have a brand new mom that's in labor, and she's putting out her little babies, and these other pigs are over there and they're sucking all the colostrum off of her. That's not good. That has to be controlled. We're able to do that because we use porta huts. I can kind of see what's going to happen as we wade into the whole thing. I've got 3 going over here, and they're all going to go right about the same time because they were all bred, sort of at the same time. So there's not going to be any problem with that. The 3 that I have over there, that's a different story. Something going on over there. It looks like there's 2 of them that just have not taken. And I don't know. I'm not sure why that is. But it's not a huge deal because I do need pigs for hog harvest coming up. So it'll be them.
Volunteers.
Yeah, they're going to volunteer.
Finn the dog wondered, have you ever seen gilts walking on their front knees?
Yeah.
They don't drop to their knees, but for a couple minutes they walk on them.
Yeah. I have. That is parasites. That is worms. And remember? And what you have to do, or what you should do, is, that's bad worms. You have to get like an ivermectin deal, wormer, and I'm thinking you want to do all of them at the same time. There's an ivermectin that you can just run a strip down their back. You just pour it on, and that's a pretty good way to go. But you're going to have to do them all. And when they start spitting worms, when you start seeing worms, you're going to want to let that go and then get them moved out of there and give that pasture a time in the hot sun and cold winter for all those worm eggs to go away. They'll just die. And people will tell you they won't die. I've heard that, but I've also seen where we did at one point get a pig here that had worms, and it went through the whole herd. So it's nothing to fool around with. And when they have them that bad, and I bet you're noticing that the pig is going out prostrate and stretching, so you see their back kind of bend down a little bit. At one time I knew why they did that. I cannot recall why they do that now, but I'm fairly certain that it is worms. So do something. Look at 30 people in. but 17 thumbs up. I bet a lot of you people that aren't giving us a thumbs up wear masks. That's what I think. You're mask wearers. And you're mad at me because I won't wear a mask. All right, so this is how you're getting back at me? Well, there's 2 of you that aren't. See 2 more thumbs up there. Maybe the rest of his name is Karen.
Lone Star wanted to know what a bag of biochar is going for.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Obi?
I have not looked at to see any place where biochar is being sold. Hey, but Bryce is looking for some, and it's very light, and I know you're way over there in Texas for now, but maybe Bryce would like to buy some of your biochar. I'd like to see how your biochar burner is doing. I'd like to know more about that. I have all the wood I need, and I am ready to go with a burn. I need to do that. I usually do them for a week, and it gives me all I need for quite a long time. Your biochar is priceless, though. I bet it is. I think you're priceless. My father used to say that to me. He said, "You're priceless. You are priceless." I just remembered that.
Yeah. All right, Lone Star's other good question. What's stopping you from having your own farmer's market on your own property to sell your own products that doesn't involve the state?
The quick answer to that is nothing. Nothing. You can do farmer's market on your property. All you need to do is put out a sign and set a time, and when the food Nazis, if they come, which if you're on a main road and you have it out there and they happen to notice it, or one of their little minions says, "Hey, did you know there's a farmer's market over in if they want to come, they would have to have permission to come from you. And I think it would be the biggest mistake you ever made to give them permission, because as soon as you did give them permission, they would say, "Oh, well, you need this and you need this. Oh, you got to have a you got to have 2. You got to actually 3. One for the Bruce Jenners of us all, right? You do not want to let them on. It's private property, and if you are letting other people come and sell their stuff, you know, you should, if you do all the marketing and stuff, you should allow them to compensate you for that, like whatever a day. I mean, let's say you have a really location, and you know, have a neon sign out there, and you just, let's say you get a bunch of protesters out there and you stop traffic and you make them go through your property. How about that? Try that one, Lone Star. Use their own tactics against them, right? People may want to compensate you quite well to come to your farmer's market, but it is private property. The reality of farmers markets that you see in town, they are on county property, and county is government, and they say, "Oh, well, we're going to comply with every regulation that anybody has." Why? Because we don't want to get sued, you know. And so they invite the Department of Ag to come and look at labeling, and so you've got frozen chicken. I don't see you on the list here as having a warehouse license. We'll have to stop by. And then they schedule a stop by, and while they're there, "Oh, wow, look at this, a septic tank. You mind if I have somebody come by and look at this? Oh, you have children, do you?" No, you don't want those people coming by. And I know people are going to be saying to me, okay, it should be good. Should be good. But on private property, you do not want some state and you do not have to. I got business that they are in is selling permission. right? So they're going to convince you that you need to go to them for permission to do something on your private property. And if you buy into it, it'll only cost you $250 every year for the rest of your life. No, don't do it. Just say, nah, no thanks, I don't want to. And then if they decide they're going to come on market day, it's private property, right? And private property, according to the Fourth Amendment, a person would either need a warrant, which they'd have to go before a judge and say, I think something illegal's going on there. Like what, Mr. Food Inspector? Well, I don't know, but something. You know, there's nothing illegal going on if you guys are selling chicken and zucchinis. If they say that you're doing child trafficking, then yeah, they would get a warrant, and the food inspector would be coming with the Mounties for sure. Actually, people would be asking questions about why is a food inspector not just up-channeling this to the proper authorities. But so there really is nothing stopping you from doing that. I know a guy that actually does that. Bob and Ann Gothard, they do that, don't they?
Yep,
And
30-day farm.
and I don't know, you know, some people see it differently than I do, and they kind of welcome, you know, like they want to partner with the state, as if the state's going to drop some money on the ground while they're there telling you what to do. Or they're going to go to bat for you if somebody sues you. But they're not either. And so some people, you know, like to partner with the state. I don't, and I don't think I ever will. There's nothing in it for me, right? There's nothing in it for me. It, you know, let's say that they want to come and inspect my property. I'd say, sure. You want permission to inspect my property? Is that what you're asking for? And they say, yes. I say, no problem. It's $250. Wait a minute. We're the state. We don't pay you money. You do now if you want to look at my stuff, right? Because I'm on private property and you're not. So you don't get on my property without my say-so or an order from a judge, which is really big medicine because the Fourth Amendment is, it's a big deal, you know, to circumvent the Fourth Amendment. I know you hear stories, and I hear those stories too, but they usually involve, you know, really bad people who are violent people, and they have to do what's called no-knock warrants. I don't know. If my son was a policeman, would I want them to knock on the door if the guy is got, you know, a 249 behind the wall? No, I wouldn't. I want them to kick that door down and go in and arrest those bad guys. But it usually involves drugs or child trafficking, stuff like that. And I know that there's the things that happen that are mistakes, but that's tough. That's just tough. It's too bad that happens, but you know, overall, our Bill of Rights to our Constitution has served us very well. And that is your ticket, really. If you want to have some sort of function on your property, Fourth and Fifth Amendment, that's your thing right there. That is your thing. And then let's say that, I mean, people have probably seen horror shows when health inspectors just make their way onto somebody's, you know, farm-to-table private function, and I saw this one, some butch-looking, who's that from? $20 there.
SW Tile Setter.
Thank you, SW Tile Setter. We've seen these videos where that happens, where some person that works maybe for a county health department thinks that their britches are much bigger than they actually are and doesn't understand that the people that they're accosting are U.S. citizens that have a lot of authority just being U.S. citizens against their government. And, you know, they come on and start barking orders. You got to dump that food. You got to put bleach on that food, you know. They always want you to do it. Well, no. Nobody tells you what to do. You don't allow anybody to tell you what to do when it comes to that. And then say, where's your warrant, sister? What are you doing on my property? You don't have a warrant. Get off now. And then if they will not get off, then you're calling 911. Say there's a person trespassing on my property that, you know. And once a 911 call is made, that's going to get sorted out, you know. And if they're there without a warrant, without the authority to be there, no, don't allow it. I mean, but you got to stand up for yourself. And might there be some backlash? Oh yeah. But you know, when you think about standing up for yourself, you're standing up for me too. And you know, when I stand up for me, I'm standing up for you too. Against any government can go rogue or can go tyrannical. And usually it's because we allow it, you know, like something small, like put that mask on before you come in. And the guy stocking the shelves is putting his finger in your face. You don't allow that. Do not allow that. I mean, they did the same thing with the TSA. They took people who didn't even work at the airport. Now, all of a sudden, they're telling you whether you can get on an airplane or not. I mean, they're better now, but at first when they started, any warm body that they could find, they were slapping a TSA uniform on, and it was bad. It's still kind of invasive, if you ask me. I've been stopped by those people, and I didn't like it very well. And I don't think they're very professional. They're not law enforcement people, but anyway. So no, nothing's stopping you from doing that. And but you have to be prepared to know, just like any engagement that you're going to get into, okay, if this happens, how do I handle it? Right? And so you have to think those things through. Let's say farm to table dinners are fashionable these days. So you produce something on your farm, you get it prepared, and maybe you partner with a restaurant that does some catering, and they'll set up tables in your pasture, you know, in a very rough setting, but then do fine dining out there, and people kind of, well, yeah, this is kind of neat, you know, hay wagon ride and drinking wine and stuff. And for some reason, the health department thinks that it's their duty to get involved in those things and make sure that the water temperature is correct and the wine is being chilled properly. No, it's on private property. And you have to back them off. You have to disallow them from coming on, at least until, you know, we can talk about it. But I have customers here, and we're going to take care of them first. You understand that, don't you? Now go away.
All right. He said, can you make everyone register to enter? How do you weed out the government? And will the sheriff's department stand up to the state?
Well, let's see, how would you do that? If you had a farmer's market and it was open to the public on private property, sort of like a pumpkin patch days or something like that, I suppose you would have to post that they are not welcome, you know, that they are not welcome, and it will be considered a trespass. And they will make themselves known because they're not there to enjoy the day or to pitch in and help, you know. They're there to look for things that you're not doing that they think you should. And some people will say, well, that's a good thing, Mark. No, they're looking for things that they can say, well, you need to get permission to do this. And then as soon as they get a foothold, you're going to be jumped through so many hoops you won't know. They'll go down back to the office and they'll say to their buddy at the health department or the the building department, hey, I don't think they got a building permit to put up those lights, in the front, in the yard there. And before you know it, you're gonna have them down on you. So you gotta keep them out. And generally what will happen is you will see the insignia on their themselves. They have, I don't know if they're required to wear an insignia. But anytime it's happened here where they come on and I don't want them here, somebody shows up, I don't know who they are, and they present me with a card, and I just say, get off. I don't want you here. And they don't have the authority to say, well, I'm staying. They don't have that authority. It's private property. Department of Agriculture, the state-run ones, are privately held corporations, right? They are like contractors for the governor, right? That's what they are. They're contractors. So they're not really government. But would that make them any more scary and, make you want to cooperate with them anymore? It shouldn't. You're a sovereign being, and you're not owned by these people. You don't have to ask them permission. You don't have to ask anybody permission. That's the beauty of this country, is you are free to pursue your process. The Fifth Amendment says your life, your liberty, and your property is protected under due process of law. And that's the problem that I have with these regulatory agencies like Department of Agriculture. They don't go by the law, because the law in this country is the U.S. Constitution. They go by their regulations. Well, when you get into a fight with somebody, right? Thanks, Lone Star. And you bring they bring a knife, right? You bring a gun, right? That's how you get in a fight. That's how you win a fight. So the Department of Agriculture, they have regulations. That's a knife. That's not even a knife. That's a noodle, in my opinion. But we have to know that, well, they got this noodle that they're holding in my throat. You have to know it's a noodle. And then you got the Constitution. And I don't mean the Second Amendment to the Constitution. I mean, you have the Constitution of the United States. That is the supreme law of the land. And you really don't have to say much to these people. What you do is you start ask them questions. All right, when if I was going to do a farmer's market on my place, I would think, hey, maybe one of those suckers will stumble in here. This will be fun. Right? So you can have it set up to where you're looking for them, you're looking for them. And when you find them, right, they're not the average participant. Oh no, you can have a list of things, additional things that they have to accomplish before they can come on, right? Well, why? Because I said so, and it's my farmer's market. That's why. And now I would, if I was going to do that, I think I'd add to my list of hoops that an inspector would have to jump through as, well, I need proof that you've been tested for COVID-19 in the last 15 hours, right? Have you got that on you? No? Well, when you get that, come on back, But my rules change all the time, so I don't know. You can just take your chances on that. Or I'm going to require that you present me with positive ID, right? And they'll pull out their little, state ID card and say, no, I actually need a driver's license. I can't give you that. Well, you're going to have to leave then, because that's my rules. And my rules is my rules. And it's my house, my rules. So unless you present me with that, you got to get off. Oh, and we, for you guys, we know that you're going to a lot of different places, so we have a rule. It's called shower in, shower out. Right over there. You can take your clothes off there, take a shower, and then, yeah, you can do that. Why not? It's your house. And then they'll get the message that they're not really welcome. And then before you put your clothes on, I have a questionnaire for you to fill out. Right? And if there's anything that I don't like on there, You ain't coming in. If I think you're lying to me, you ain't coming in. I mean, it's your house, right? That's what TSA does to you when you want to get on an airplane that you've paid for a seat on. They say, you know, if you don't do this, this, and this, you don't get on the plane. And even then, you see people, I've seen it several times. We're on the plane getting ready to go, and all of a sudden they come on and they say, you got to get off. Never happens to me. It's kind of scary though, you know, especially if it's a connecting flight and you're in Botswana or place and you waiting on a connecting flight to get to Yucatan Peninsula or someplace, and they throw you off the plane. You can't do anything, and if you resist, oh, then they're going to have a room for you at the jail. It's kind of a weird situation, but two can play at that game. So I would never go to a farmer's market on county property, right? I'm not going to participate on that because I don't want to play on their court. I will do it on my property because I like my rules. My rules are more reasonable to the people that would come to my house. We have people coming to our house all the time. And we treat everybody with hospitality. We try to make everybody feel, we treat everybody as though they could be, as though they're the most important person, you know, that there is. I'll tell you a story. One time a guy came here to have his chickens done, and he was kind of dressed real nice, and I had to climb up in his pickup to get his chickens out, and I was kind of irritated, and it's kind of like, why don't you do it? But he just kind of stood there. He's kind of an older guy. And so a friend of mine was here visiting, and he struck up a conversation with him, and he said, so what do you do in Cadillac? What do you do for a living? He says, oh, I'm the district judge. And he wound up coming to one of my fundraisers when we were having big problems with the state. So you never know who's coming into your midst, so you should be nice to everybody. Except food inspectors.
All right, further question. Are pumpkins warmer for pigs, and doesn't feeding charcoal help with worms?
Yeah. Raw pumpkins, the pumpkin seeds, is something in there that will keep the worms in check. The problem is, by the time you've got worms so bad. Okay, Schwarland's quit. That was a really good question, and I had that question already once today. The pumpkin seeds and the biochar are definitely preventative maintenance. Worms are just part of the bio system of a pig. You know, it's not like worms came from another planet or something. They're a lot of us have worms. A lot of, you know, humans get them, dogs get them, our puppies had them, and they were most likely roundworms because, you know, I have pigs. My kids have had them, and, you know, it's just part of the whole thing. Parasitism is part of our world. And so long as they're not out of control, then the preventative measures like pumpkins, it's the seeds actually that will push them back, or that will keep them in check. And biochar or charcoal will work pretty good. But by the time they get to be really bad, then you got to do some measures. Now, why do they get bad like that? Well, some farms, every pig that comes through, they have a thing that they do. They'll cut the tail off. They'll cut the beans off. They'll cut the teeth, the eye teeth off. And then they'll notch the ear, and they'll give them a shot of iron, and they'll give them a shot of ivermectin to worm them. Babies, they just have a routine. And then those pigs would go into, if they go into a hog house, that's quite sterile place, and it's unlikely that they will pick up worms there. It's quite unlikely. But when they come to a farm after they've had that, and all the worms have been flushed out of them, then they are prime for infestation at that point, right? So that's what starts the cycle, is killing off all the worms. So I don't recommend doing that unless you have a big problem. And then, yeah, you probably should. But if you don't have a big problem, pumpkin seeds will do it and biochar will do it. They do make natural wormers out there too that you can run kind of a maintenance dosage. I forget what it's called. You know, nowadays you can find anything, right? Another question? We're running long on time.
You know, actually, that's the last one.
Lone Star's packing it in.
Do you put diatomaceous earth in your fields? Martha wants to know.
You know, I don't. I don't. Not because I don't think it's a good idea. It's just you know, I'm all of a sudden I'm thinking there's a place down the road. Was that Michael Lyons?
Lawton.
Lawton? Yeah. Oh, okay. Because my neighbor's name is Lyons, right? Mike Lyons. But there's a place down the road from us that carries all kinds of stuff like that in bulk. You know, they have, you know, seaweed, and they make custom soils, so they carry a lot of stuff like that. We've gotten a lot of stuff from them for our composting operation, but I never did get any of that stuff, diatomaceous earth. All right, well, if that's it, are we down to no questions then?
Correct.
Okay, then we handled everything. I appreciate everybody coming by. We had a good crowd of people tonight, and I did kind of mention a little bit about having Jill host the show, and a few people have said, yeah, that'd be a good idea, but we need an overwhelming, like, yeah, you know. And so if you can do that, if you do that, then she'll take hold of the golden microphone that's just off camera, you can't see, and we'll get her in for a show. But she's got a lot of good information on Ayurvedic medicine and health, and she's got a lot of other stuff that she just figures out on her own. Okay, all right, Mark Baker's Green Acres, good night everybody, and get your farming on. Good night.